All right, so here we have it. We're in round two, and there's two games in the semifinals. You can ignore all these guys right here. They're all pretty much out. They're in the consolation bracket. They're just watching these two matchups up here to determine who's going to be our 2016 Fantasy Football League champion. So let's go. It's essentially in division, in the one division, it's Joe versus Gabe. Let me lower this a little bit. So yeah, it's Joe versus Gabe, or G Money versus Password is Taco. And let's take a look. Projections currently have these two teams pretty much neck and neck. It's 140 for G versus 137 for Password is Taco. Again, when the projections are that tight, they typically don't mean a damn thing. So let's take a look at the matchups as they currently stand. Matt Ryan's currently slotted on my team versus Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going against a very, very difficult Denver defense. But again, Tom had a great game last week versus a very difficult Baltimore defense. So let's see how that shakes out. Matt Ryan's going up against San Francisco. It should be pretty easy. But then again, we're going to be looking at whether or not I might play Big Ben or not. On the running back position, got Jeremy Hill and Robert Kelly, both powerhouses. They put out some pretty good production last week versus Frank Gore. Frank Gore is going up against Minnesota, so it's going to be kind of difficult from the defensive front. Devonta Freeman is supposed to have a very, very, very strong game versus San Francisco. San Francisco has one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. So look for him to light up the scoreboard there. From the wide receiver front, we've got Kenny Britt, who's been a consistent wide receiver for the Rams, going up against a tough Seattle Seahawks secondary. And then we've got Calvin Benjamin going up against a very weak Washington secondary. So, slight advantage there, but it's pretty much a wash. And then we've got Antonio Brown, superstar, going up against Cincinnati. He typically comes up big against Cincy. Versus Demaryius Thomas going up against New England. One way to beat New England is through the air, so Demaryius should have a good game if Trevor Siemian's getting the ball. And then we're looking at Brandon Cooks against a very difficult Arizona matchup. Hopefully we'll see some double-digit production there versus T.Y. Hilton going up against Minnesota. So it all depends on which Minnesota defense shows up. If their powerhouse defense shows up, then you can look at T.Y. Hilton hopefully being limited to double-digit points. And then on the tight end position, we've got a battle between Dwayne Allen, who got 0 points last week, versus Tyler Eifert, who is the main target for Andy Dalton. So definitely advantage there goes to Tyler Eifert. And in the flex spot, I've currently got Jeremy Macklin, who's got one game under his belt after his return. Coming in for KC versus Marvin Jones, who's been quietly putting up double digits for Detroit versus a very tough New York Giants defense. On the defensive front, I think that's going to be a wash. Seattle's going up against the Rams. We all know how that goes. So I look for a very strong bounce back performance from my Seattle defense. The Bucs D has been very, very strong, actually hitting double digits the last several weeks, and they're going up against Dallas. And I'm not really worried about that Dallas matchup, so I think the Bucs are going to actually produce very well. Two very, very good kickers, Justin Tucker and Nick Novak. So pretty much projections have this rated pretty on the money here. This is going to be a very, very tight. Tough matchup here between the both of us. I suspect that it'll come down to a couple of points. So that's the matchup in this division. Winner moves on to the championship, and loser gets to play for the third place. Okay, let's move on to the second matchup of the week, which is KC versus Angie, or appropriately titled New Kids on the Block versus Getting the Paddle Out. So both basically 8-win teams. This is going to be another difficult matchup. KC again is coming in under projections at 131 points, and Angie is coming in at 147 points. pretty much ESPN is looking at domination on Angie's part. But again, that's why we play the game. You never know what's going to happen in the field. These projections don't mean anything. And at the end of the day, let's take a look at what ESPN is seeing here. So right now, currently, Casey's got Matthew Stafford slotted in against the tough New York Giants defense. I suspect that there might be play from Phillip Rivers and San Diego. It's a decision she's going to have to make there, but I probably would like my chances with Phillip Rivers better. But who knows? Casey's been making all the right decisions. She got this far, so we'll see how that pans out. Aaron Rodgers is going up against Chicago, so that's a divisional matchup, and Aaron Rodgers should light up the scoreboard on that matchup. Darren Sproles was injured this past week. It's unsure on whether or not he's going to be able to suit up. He's currently in concussion protocol, and currently he's slotted up against Baltimore defense, which has the #1 rush defense in the league. So that's not really a good play there, but we'll see how that shakes out. Lamar Miller is going up against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has a weak run defense, but they have a strong secondary, so Lamar Miller should find some running room there. Jay Ajayi is going up against the tough New York Jets run defense, but the Jets have kind of given up on the season there, so I think that's going to be a very, very good play. And then Le'Veon Bell, Mr. 52-point performer last week, going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati is, I think they're trying to fight for their lives here, so we'll look to see if their run defense can shut down Bell. I don't think he's going to have another 50-point performance. I think it'll be back down to the stratosphere of like 20 points. Isaiah Crowell's currently slotted in there, going up against Cleveland, going up against Buffalo. That'll be interesting. I would suspect that Crowell will be probably getting somewhere between the 10 to 15 point range. Currently in that running back or wide receiver slot, Angie's got Julian Edelman there, going up against a very, very tough no-fly zone Denver secondary there. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Pierre Garçon's got a very strong matchup versus Carolina, so I suspect that he's going to have a high-scoring game there on Monday night. Jordy Nelson, #1 target to Aaron Rodgers, should have a very strong game. Jordan Matthews is going up against Baltimore. The way to beat Baltimore is through the air, so I suspect that he'll have a very tight game. And then Tyreek Hill is currently slotted in against Tennessee. Tyreek Hill's been performing like a monster, like a beast the past several weeks. But with Macklin back and one game under his belt, I suspect he'll take some touches away from Tyreek Hill. So we'll take a look at that. Jordan Reed had a bad game last week. That's not going to happen this week. So Jordan Reed will I suspect, will perform very well. Witten for Dallas has been kind of like hit or miss, but hey, you probably expect about 10 points there. And then Jonathan Stewart going against Washington's rushing defense. Should have a very strong game there. And then going against Larry Fitzgerald against a very weak New Orleans defense. So look for Fitzy to bounce back. And then we've got Panthers D currently slotted against Washington. I'm not sure if that's a good play or not, but I'm sure Casey will take a look at that. She's been picking the right defenses all year, so I'm not going to question her on that. And then Raiders defense is currently slotted against San Diego. That should be an interesting matchup, divisional. Generally, when those two teams meet, there's lots of stuff that happens there, so Raiders should perform. And then kicker-wise, Hauschka, always reliable for Seattle, going up against a very weak LA Rams defense. And then you got Dustin Hopkins for Washington going up against Carolina. I think the kickers are a wash. So in the analysis here, I mean, essentially, they're pretty much banking on the fact that Rodgers is going to go crazy, Nelson's going to go crazy, and Tyreek Hill's going to go crazy. I think this match is going to be a lot closer than what the experts are projecting. and we'll see how it all shakes out. So there you have it. Winner moves on for the championship. So it's either going to be Casey or Angie playing for the championship for the title versus either myself or Joel Kona, and the losers will play for the third place in the following week after this week. So there you have it. Exciting stuff. It looks like there's a potential that we could be crowning a new fantasy football champion, unless I win it, of course. I've already got a title. So, but in all probability, 4 teams, only one has been there before. So probability is likely that we'll be crowning a new champion at the end of the season, unless I don't do what I'm supposed to do. So with that being said, I'm signing off, and good luck, everybody. Look in your transaction counters to try to see how much money you owe, so we can start to collect and get payment. And we got a party going on here on Saturday night for Austin and Robert and Kino's birthdays. You guys are all invited, of course, and we look forward to it. And have a great week, and good luck.